Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for coming to PEGTV's annual meeting. Our guest speaker has arrived. It's going to be a very nice presentation today. We're very happy to have Attorney General Clark with us today. Before we get going, I want to let everyone know this is being recorded for broadcast later on some local television station. So please be mindful, there's cameras and some cables running on the floor. I don't want anybody to trip on those. And we do have a ticket drawing at the front desk. If you'd like to see George Thorogood, I think next week at the Paramount, we have 2 drawings for 2 pairs of tickets. So put your name in there if you'd like that. I also want to say thank you to Jenna and her staff here at Southside Steakhouse. Let's give them a round of applause. There's a couple people in the audience I'd like to recognize. We have some local representatives and senators here, and we'll start with BC himself, Senator Brian Collmore. Also a newly minted super senior. Representative Chris Pritchard is here. Former representative and current Rutland City Board of Alderman Larry Coopely. And Senator Terry Williams. Our own Rutland City Mayor Michael Dunges. And Rutland City Board of Alderman Tom Donahue. Rutland City School Board, or Mill River School Board, sorry. Geez, that's my alma mater. Dave Potter, Mill River School Board. Paulette Town Clerk, Deb Hawkins. She's also my sister, and she was my sister first. So the food is ready, so please, we're gonna let the main table go first so our guests can eat and enjoy a meal, and I'm also coincidentally at that table. So we're gonna let that table go first, and then after that, everyone can just go up and enjoy your meal, and we'll start the meeting. Feel free to eat during the presentation. Thank you. Also, I want to recognize the giant crew from Brock is here also. And don't forget, next month is Brocktober. Isn't that correct? With that, I'd like to introduce my esteemed board president, Jerry Carver.
I'm not sure what esteemed means. I don't know that I deserve that, but here I am. So I'm sure that now that we've been here for a while, everybody has gone through your program here, and everybody has read the minutes from last year's meeting, correct? I'm hearing some laughing. Is that? So, assuming that you have done that, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve last year's board annual meeting. Mr. Larry, second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. All right, number 2, it's my honor and duty to name our board people who have been very hard at work keeping this machine going. So the board members are Sherry Berkheimer-Roker, who's not able to be here tonight. Steve Dardek. Steve is here. Terry Jurasik, who's in Poland. I don't know why he would choose that over this meeting, but he decided that was a better choice. Tracy Moore. Is Tracy here? I didn't see her earlier. Okay. And our esteemed mayor, Mike Dunges. And over here, we have Andrew Wilson and Stephanie Wilson. That's our board member. That's our board for the third year. So as time goes on, unfortunately, board terms expire, and Steve Dardek is at the end of his rope right now, for now. Now, Steve, I'm sure Stephen knows this, but for those of you who don't, once you get off the board for a year, you can come back on. So that's happened over here, right? So we'd welcome you back on, Stephen, after your year of retirement.
Ed told me he's back on now.
Yes, yes, yes. And Jerry, too.
Oh, I didn't know. Jerry didn't tell me.
So Stephen is retiring, as well as Terry J., who is not here to hear that, because he's in Poland, as I said. So we have 2 new board members that are actually old board members. Older, that are coming back on. It's kind of a thing these days. So Jerry Hansen and Ed Kelly, both former board members, are coming back on if I hear a motion to approve that. So moved. Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Did you have your hand up, Jerry, when I said opposed? I saw your hand go up.
No, he didn't. Ask me to just have them say
All right, and I guess,
Jerry,
yes,
I wasn't watching. Can you say, have them say their names? First?
I'm sorry?
Who made the
Who made the
motion?
motion and who
Seconded it?
seconded it?
Oh, I think Stephen made the motion, Tom Donahue second. And everybody said yes, except for Jerry Hansen. All right, and I guess Sherry's not here, but she's part of this next motion. If you want to approve myself and Sherry for another term, we'd like a motion for that.
So moved.
All right. Senator, second, somebody?
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Opposed? All right, so that's it for the board. And now we have committee meetings, which the only one, or committee reports, the only one we're doing tonight is the treasurer's report. That happens to be me as well. What are you laughing at? So, let me start by saying, for the treasurer's report, anybody that's interested in the detail, you're welcome to come by the PEGTV offices down in Howe Center anytime that we're open. And it's public records. You're welcome to go through the records and look at it. So having said that, I'm not going to get into any numbers tonight, but I will say that the staff at PEGTV and the board has directed the organization in a way that makes us very financially viable. So even though you're hearing stories about these kinds of organizations closing up, we're nowhere near that. And part of the reason is we'd like to thank the Rutland County delegation for supporting us in Montpelier, because when revenues started to fall off, all of a sudden from Montpelier came a bill that said we need to help fund these people, and the state came up with some money with the support of our folks over here, and that was divvied up among the PEGTV stations across the state, so that helped us along. So we thank you very much for that. That's it for me. All right. Thank you. Next time, read the program.
I need a motion and a second to accept the treasurer.
Oh, we need a motion and a second to accept the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Larry, Stephen, Mike, all those in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Another round of applause for my board president. I'd like to take a few moments and introduce the wonderful staff we have at PEGTV, starting with Nancy Donahue. Nancy has been the office manager for 22 years. And another word for office manager is she keeps the wheels on the place. So, next in line we have Chelsea Vogel. She is the program coordinator for the public channel and the education channel, and she's been with us for 10 years. Chelsea is the only person to be the coordinator of all three channels at one time or another. Next, we have our government channel coordinator. You see him around here, Rich Alnicki. There he is. Where's Rich? And Rich is going to complete 5 years in November. Marketing and production assistants, 4 years, Jim Boughton. And myself, in May, I completed 30 years. Yeah, thank you. I can remember when this was farmland as far as the eye could see. The man behind the curtain, our Wizard of Oz field producer, he's actually here and he's working. He covers many of our board meetings. He's our senior field producer, and he just made the 12-year mark. Bill Shimoleski. Another one of our field producers who's responsible for a great deal of the sports that you see for 4 years is Greg McCormick, and he's out on assignment tonight, so he couldn't be here. Greg is actually the brother of Chris McCormick. So thank you. And another member of the Wilson family that contributes greatly to PEGTV, who also couldn't be here tonight, is 4 years so far, Stephen Wilson. And you can see, thank you. And another member of the Donahue family that contributes greatly to PEGTV with games and meetings. Chris is very versatile. He does games and special events. He's been with us for 3.5 years, Chris Donahue. If you look at the cover of this year's booklet, we have pictures of all of our field producers. They've done a lot for us, and they really are the boots on the ground when it comes to a great amount of bulk of our programming. So another round of applause for everybody. Thank you. So we've made some nice upgrades to the studio over the course of the year, notably the studio lighting. I got approval from the board, and we finally upgraded the studio lighting to make it look more comfortable, more modern. We also have the ability to control it inside the control room, so if someone comes on with a bright shirt, we can dampen it down right inside the control room. And I will steal a quote from Dr. Hogenkamp. He said it makes him look younger. The Paula installation, which we completed last September, has been working very well. Paula is our southernmost town that we serve, and they're the furthest away, so we decided to put some permanent equipment in there so Bill and the other fellows wouldn't have to keep trucking stuff back and forth, and we can also leave as soon as the meeting's over, and that's working out very well. It's very similar to what you see here with the remote control cameras in the control station, except it's permanently installed in an office. And we have a couple instances at PEGTV too, with the cooking studio and the main studio. Our YouTube numbers have increased dramatically. As Jerry mentioned, a lot of the content folks are still watching. They're just watching on a different device. We gained 560 YouTube followers this year on our YouTube channel. 3 live parades. The Halloween parade, of course. A couple Loyalty Day parades and the Memorial Day parade in West Rutland we did live. And I want to thank Stephanie and Andrew Wilson for their help on that. And also Stephanie for hosting the Royal Pumpkin Pageant every year. So a round of applause for Stephanie and Andrew. Catherine is their youngest. I'm going to indoctrinate her into the PEGTV working world one day soon. I want to say thank you to my president, Jerry Carbine, for your guidance and support and all of your knowledge on accounting. We really have learned a lot from you. So we're going to keep you on. I also want to thank Stephen Dardek, outgoing board member. If you ever have a chance to get a lawyer on your board of directors, please do so. You can learn a lot from a lawyer too. And Terry J., who's also outgoing, who was pretty much a big reason why you're seeing me standing here today. I met Terry J. and I decided to get into the media field. I didn't choose radio because those guys get up too early. So I decided to go into TV. And I'd like to welcome back Ed Kelly and Jerry Hansen. You guys are a good job, and that's why I asked you to come back. Oh, thank you. Thanks for coming back. So I asked the Attorney General to come here today to talk about scams. We're all vulnerable to them. I actually had my identity stolen once. When they found out I grew up in Danby, they gave it back. Charity Clark was sworn in as Attorney General on January 5th, 2023. She is the first woman to be elected to this position. AG Clark has made protecting Vermont a trademark of her administration. Constantly vigilant, AG Clark has protected Vermont's waterways from PCB contamination, fought against social media platforms causing mental harm to young users, and she has a strong focus on preventing sexual and domestic violence. A.G. Clark was born and raised in southern Vermont. She is a graduate of Burton Academy, UVM, and Boston College Law School. She began her legal career as an associate at a law firm in Burlington, an avid skier and hiker, completing the Long Trail in 2021. A.G. Clark is joined today with Christopher Curtis, Director of the Consumer Assistance Program, and today they're going to educate us about scams. Please welcome Attorney General Clark and Christopher. Thank you.
I'll begin, because we're not doing the slides yet, by saying how lovely it is to be here tonight. I did grow up in Manchester. I lived in Ludlow until I was like 7, then we moved to Manchester. So I always like to reminisce about my days going back to school shopping in Rutland. So that was my first introduction and going to the playgrounds, because your playgrounds were better than ours. So it's really nice to be here with all of you. And I want to also just say that as someone who has spent a lot of my career focused on, working in public service, but working either for an elected official or being the elected official, the importance of media cannot be overstated. It is people have to go to work. They can't learn the news themselves. They have to read the news somewhere. They have to learn what's happening in their community through a media source. And I know growing up outside of Burlington, way outside of Burlington, we didn't get TV. We didn't get WCAX at my house. We got Albany, New York TV. When I found out, I'm not making this up, when I went to UVM, that's when I found out that Fox was not a cable station you had to pay for like HBO. Legit, I thought you had to pay for Fox because no one got Fox. So the role that PEGTV plays for this community, this county, is so important, especially now when so many of the smaller media outlets are dying away. And to come here tonight and see how many people are here is so uplifting. So thank you for your support and your involvement with this incredibly critical organization. I do lament that we're at a steakhouse and not the studio, especially having heard that there's a wrinkle remover at the studio. So I think Tom will have to stop by sometime and just give the lighting a spin. So tonight we are going to talk about scams. Now, I think I mentioned here that I have been involved in a lot of media, and what I can tell you is people love scams. They love talking about scams. When I managed our social media account when I was chief of staff at the Attorney General's office, I would do okay, what are the hot things that people are really responding to? And it was always our posts about scams. So keep this in mind for a future PEG TV, special on scams. Chris is our director of the Consumer Assistance Program. We are scam experts. So if you have any problems, questions, concern, you can always call the Consumer Assistance Program, 1-800-649-2424, and we can try to help you, try to answer your questions. But tonight I'm going to give you the overview. So buckle your seatbelts. Let's see if I remember, Chris. Oh, there's the arrow button. Okay, here we are. Nope, that didn't work. Oh, yeah. What is the Consumer Assistance Program? We call it CAP. CAP is the coolest. Everyone has a CAP, every state, but only Vermont's is located at a university. So our Consumer Assistance Program is literally at UVM. And when you call, who here has ever called CAP or the Attorney General's office about a consumer concern or to make a scam report? Okay, I'm seeing some hands, right? I've never not had someone raise their hand. So we know that a lot of people, thousands every year, call the Consumer Assistance Program. The person who gets back to you, either on the phone or by email, could very well be a student. And it's amazing because the students now, they're very afraid to answer the phone. They don't have a phone at their house. You know, they text people. And so we have to do a whole class on how to answer the phone. Dead serious. Someone goes into another room and they pretend to be the caller and that's like, just say hello, Consumer Assistance Program. So they're great. And we teach them about all the consumer issues and then they go out into the world and they're like little lieutenants fighting for consumer rights. I forget to mention this, but it is critical to remember. It's free. You just call us and we will help. We're going to learn all about CAP as we go through this. We primarily, there's a few buckets of stuff we do. The kind of meat and potatoes of CAP is what we call lettered mediation. It looks like this. A consumer will call and say, I bought this blender and it doesn't work, and they won't take it back. And we will send that complaint to blendersthatdon'twork.com, whatever, and they will write back and say, oh no, this was a misunderstanding, or oh, you got us, here's your $75 back. And that's like a perfect scenario. It doesn't work like a charm every time, but over half, I think, of the complaints that we get are resolved favorably. Chris, do you think that's accurate? Still?
It's probably about 40%.
Okay, 40%.
These are disputes between parties.
Yeah.
Right? And so we're trying to get to the bottom of what's going on and
Yeah, and get everybody on their way. So we also have businesses who just ignore us. We try to send everything on the scary Attorney General office letterhead that seems to spook people into responding. We also do a lot of education and outreach. That's part of what we're doing here tonight, to teach you about what we do and how to protect yourself from scams. And we also have the Small Business Initiative. This is a shocker because Vermont is either one of two or the only state where businesses themselves are protected by our Consumer Protection Act. Normally it's just an individual, not a business at all. As we know in Vermont, so many of our businesses are very, very small businesses. Businesses in Vermont are protected. Now, what do I mean by that? If you are selling stuff and something goes awry, that stuff you're selling is not necessarily what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, say you own a car wash, and while you wait for your car to be washed, this is not a good example, an oil change place. Okay, you're waiting for your oil to be changed in the waiting room, and there's coffee there, and there's a bathroom you can use. Well, I own this place, and I want you to have good coffee. So I order the coffee for my waiting room, it arrives, and it's decaf. And I'm like, is this even for real? Like, no way. I can't serve decaf in my waiting room, and they won't take it back. That's what I'm talking about. You can call the Consumer Assistance Program. We have a small business advocate who will help and talk you through that. And that's just a little example. But if you are a small business or have a friend, a family member with a small business, and they have a kind of consumer concern, we have someone who has a lot of specialization. We also have a home improvement specialist. And home improvement, we're going to get into this, but that is a complaint that we see very often because, of course, it's so expensive. If something goes awry and it's a deck, it's thousands of dollars. We have a wonderful worker who has been both a contractor and a paralegal, so he's very knowledgeable about this, and he has been absolutely wonderful. So those are just some resources available. And this is some statistics about our program outcomes. We've recovered over $2 million for consumers. That's literally money going back to consumers in their pockets through this work. We processed over 1,000 complaints, and we made over 8,000 constituent contacts. So it's a lot. Here are our common complaints areas. Everyone loves like a top 5 list or top 10 list. So here's yours. Motorized vehicles is always number one, and that is because they are so darn expensive. So if something goes wrong, oh my gosh, it's a lot of money. You're not just gonna think to yourself, yeah, it was $25. I'm annoyed, but it's not worth my follow-up. No, you make the call. Home improvement is a similar category. And then we get into the sort of retail grab bag of various and sundry retail problems. I always use the blender example because I think that is the most relatable to all of us. Fuel is a really, I want to emphasize fuel. We in Vermont have special propane rules that apply to us, and they're really critical because, as we know, a lot of folks who are on propane are in rural areas. There's no second option. You know, they rely on propane to heat their homes. And when we get a propane complaint, literally someone is assigned, it's you today, and that person stays on the phone and works the numbers, calls all the people to get the fuel restored. We have very protective laws, it's really a rule, but basically a law for consumers when it comes to propane. So if you know someone who, I'll give you an example that I think is really powerful. If you're in arrears with your propane bill and you have run out of fuel and it's January and you're thinking, I'm gonna freeze to death, the fuel company literally has to bring you propane as long as you can give them cash in the driveway. So even though you already owe them $200, they can be mad at you, but they're bringing you the fuel, and you're not going to freeze to death. I can tell I'm going way. Never going to cover all these slides, so I'm gonna put it in speed drive. Okay, scam trends. We're here to talk about scams, not complaints. Okay, please, if you get scammed, if someone tries to scam you and you're like laughing to yourself, like that was really ineffective. You used an area code from the Philippines. I know you're not the DMV. Please make the report to the Consumer Assistance Program. If we get a few, Chris will call me and say, hey, we just got 5 scam reports for a fuel disconnection notice or sheriff scam or something. That tells us they're making a sweep in Vermont right now. And we will put together a scam alert. People have signed up to get a notice so that they'll be notified right away, either by text, email. I'll use my voice so that you know it's me. AI has made that tricky. But we want to make sure that folks get the word on scams. Scams are very hard to shut down. They're largely overseas. And we rejoice if we find a scammer. I have so many good stories I can't tell you because we don't have time. We just shut down, Chris's team did an unbelievable job. We literally, because of good timing and good work, caught a scammer, basically in the act and got this lady's money back. Scams are crimes. That's the thing you have to remember. We were just talking about the do not call list. Do not call list is effective for legitimate companies. But if you're a criminal, you don't care. You're not following any of the laws. They're just trying to steal your money. Here is what there's a few things that make someone susceptible to scam. Oh God, now I really messed it up. Am I allowed to take this off?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Okay, all right, much better. Scams, the thing that you always hear with people who are scammed is they can't believe they fell for it. It's so obvious to me now. And the reason why is because when someone is being scammed, there's always this element of emotions, right? They're trying to either scare you, like the sheriff's coming to arrest you, or they're getting you excited. You won the sweepstakes. A package is coming. Ooh, who sent me a package? You're in your feels. And that you're scared, oh, your nephew got in a car accident in Jamaica, you have to wire him money. So you're already in this emotional place, you're not thinking, you're feeling. So there's this formula that I always say to follow. If your emotions are spiked, if someone wants your money, but you can't verify they are who they say they are, and there's some sense of urgency, big red flag. There's a moment where you just have to, we say slow down, just stop and be like, wait a minute. If it's a reasonable hour, you can call CAP and we'll pick up the phone or get back to you and walk you through it. Always feel like you can just say, I'm going to call you back. What's your phone number? Just take a moment. Nothing is ever so urgent that you can't just take a moment. And if you can't reach us because it's 7 p.m. and we're not there, call a friend, call somebody in this room because they heard the talk to, and just say, am I losing it? Is this a scam? And remember, I know it can be hard to remember in the moment, but that's kind of our magical formula. This is we always do a pie chart because it's colorful and we find the media loves to cover this. Can you see how our top 10 scams has one pie in the pie chart that's gigantic? It's the computer tech support scam. It's so effective, right? Do you guys have a place where you can physically go in Rutland County and bring your laptop If it's broken, you can go somewhere. That's what I do. I'm too scared now because of the tech support scam. I won't, like, I'll go to bestbuy.com or whatever, and they're like, do you want us to remote into your computer? And I'm like, I do not. And that is how they steal your money. That's the most effective thing. They'll say, oh, you have a virus. It's a pop-up or an email or something. Don't worry. Let me remotely access your computer and I will fix it for you. No, that's not what they're going to do. Instead, they're going to steal your money. They're going to get on your web browser and find your bank account and everything, and it's absolutely horrifying. So that's the one to watch out for. That's always our number one. And we have a general identity theft. Luckily, probably some of you are from Danby. It doesn't work for people who are from Danby. Good news there. The law enforcement imposter scam, well, that's effective because it's scary. No one wants to get arrested, right? But just remember, law enforcement, they like the element of surprise. If they're coming to arrest you, they're going to go to your house. They don't want to call you and give you the warning, right? And they're certainly not going to arrest you over $100. So don't freak out if you get that one. Medicare card phishing, we might have a slide in this, but I'm going to jump ahead to talk about this. Some people think that seniors, that Vermont elders, are the most vulnerable to scams. But that's not true. It's young people, obviously. They haven't lived. They don't know a lot. They haven't been burned before like us. They're the ones who are most susceptible to be scammed, but guess what else? They have no money. No one wants to scam them. It's like, cool, now I have 75 cents. No. They're going after older people because older people have had a lifetime to accumulate wealth. So the Medicare card phishing scam reminded me to tell you that. Phishing scams, to be clear, in case you don't know, that is when someone is trying to get your information, not necessarily your actual money. They're going to take your information, like your social security card number, and they're going to open a fake bank account. They're going to file your tax return for you and try to get your return. So that's something to keep in mind. I feel like we're almost out of time, and I'm like on slide 11 out of 25. So spotting scams. We're gonna have a little list of, this is what scammers will say. We've heard it all. So here's some things that we've heard scammers say. There's all this urgency. Don't hang up. Don't trust anyone. Don't tell anyone. Right? You're gonna be arrested. The being arrested thing is very effective. Okay. How do scammers steal your money? You're obviously not writing them a check, right? That's not how scammers, they want non-traceable stuff. Cash probably used to be popular before the internet, but now there's so many great ways to steal your money. Gift cards, like Visa gift card, you can like get someone one, they get married and like here's cash, but it's like a little classier than cash, it's a gift card. Yeah, those are for gifts. If someone says pay me in gift cards, what? No, they're just Venmo you, right? That's crazy. Put it on your credit card. No, gift cards are for gifts. We jokingly say we're going to make mugs that say that at the Consumer Assistance Program because it's just gold, right? Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, a criminal's dream come true. In fact, I think once we looked at like the top 10 scams with losses, we call those the scams where people actually lost money, and like 7 out of 10 of them involved crypto. Crypto is basically like cash. You can't trace it, it's gone. It's really dangerous. Don't pay people you don't know in crypto. The other one is wiring money. You can sometimes stop that. And our favorite way to buy things at the Consumer Assistance Program is with credit cards, because credit cards have built-in consumer protections. So please pay with credit cards if you can. Here are some prevention strategies. Number one is to get your credit report. We all should be checking our credit report from all 3 agencies would be great. And you can go to the annualcreditreport.com and start there. Now, am I checking my credit report every year? I am not. I am giving this talk and I'm still not. So if you're like me, don't feel bad, but we really should be doing that. That's a way to keep on top of who might be stealing our identity. And a little reminder, Chris and I went through this together. Remember the Equifax breach? When was that, like 2017 or something? 2018? It was a nightmare. Well, half of the people in this room had their social security number taken in that. So just remember, unfortunately, there's been enough breaches where we all really should be checking our credit report every year. The do not call registry is a good step. Like I said, it doesn't always stop criminals. We would also recommend checking. The FTC has great resources And we get like identity theft information and tips from them ourselves. They're excellent. So if you're really into this, FTC is a great place. I mentioned our scam alert system. You can always sign up for that. You can either talk to Chris or you can call the Consumer Assistance Program to figure out how to do that or find it on our website. And the AARP Fraud Watch is awesome. We do stuff with them all the time. Has anyone been to any scam jams or AARP events? Because they're really fun. I know they're literally called scam jams, and they're really into it. They have like they have little like outfits. They're so into fighting scams. It's really great. I know, I love it. Okay, here are some specific scams that we always try to fight against. So imposter scams are really effective. Fake sheriff, fake grandkid, romance scams, right? There's someone pretending to be someone they're not. So when the family imposter scam comes up, it's good to have a family password. So if your nephew is, my example, he's studying abroad in Jamaica, in my imagination, he's studying abroad in Jamaica, get a password before he leaves, right? He's not going to call you in the middle of the night and say he was in a car accident, he needs you to wire money. You're going to say, what's the password? And it's going to be like, some obscure dog that you had one year or something. Government impersonation, the IRS scam always cracked me up. Like, the IRS doesn't even pick up their phone. You think they're going to call you? They don't have time. So that one was hot for a while, but it's really gone now. Tech support, a nightmare. That's the one I would fall for. We already talked about that one. Romance or relationship, if they can't meet in person and they're always having some calamity and needing money from you, this is probably a scam. And then investment schemes, you can look up if someone's legitimate easy enough, right? Are they on the list? Not that they have a website, it's probably a fake website, but you can look them up to make sure that they're licensed and stuff. So, number one way to fight scams is don't pick up your phone. I know that's hard, just let it go to voicemail, right? And then see what happens. Just don't pick it up. If you don't know the number, don't pick it up. Sometimes it's a fake number. Sometimes they use a technology to mirror your own number. That is so tempting. Don't pick that one up either. Once they know you pick up their phone, you're on their list. Haven't fallen for it yet, but I think maybe we're going to get her eventually. There is, you can buy an add-on device for, does anyone know what POTS stands for?
Plain old telephone.
Plain old telephone service, yes. You can, if you don't have one already, you can get an aftermarket device so that you have caller ID and you have a little more information when someone's calling you. You can also block illegal callers, and cell phones I feel like are getting so much better than they used to be. I have a VoIP phone, and so far I don't think I've gotten one scam on it, so that's a good sign. Things are looking up on the telephone. Yes, when it comes to emails, move the obvious scams to junk. That trains your account to know in the future, hopefully they'll keep doing that as well. Always verify the sender information. Like, look at the actual email address, because they'll misspell something, or they'll spell apple with with 3 P's instead of 2. And if you look carefully, you're like, aha, it's a scam, because they're trying to trick you. And ignore links and attachments. Don't click on links. It could be a link to let them remotely access your computer for all you know. So if you don't know the business and you can't verify, don't click on it. Now, this probably used to, 30 years ago, the Consumer Assistance Program has been around for over 40 years, and probably a scam talk would involve a lot of talking about snail mail, because the internet wasn't really invented yet. And so here's some tips in case you get scam mail. This is a lot slower pace, so I feel like it's easier to take your time and assess. You can write the fraud on the envelope and return it to the postal carrier so that they know these are coming through and they're fraudulent. You can verify the contact information. Another good just general rule is, if you're not really sure if something's legitimate, find the contact information yourself. Go on and Google it. Look in the old-fashioned phone book. Find it yourself, and then this is the correct number, not the number that this person told me. It said they were this other person. And then be really suspicious of mail that doesn't have a stamp or return address or just looks different. Scams online. Scams online, that's my current passion, because I'm really worried that AI is going to destabilize the online economy, because we've seen what happened with robocalls and telephones, and it scares me that AI is going to do that. We're not going to be able to trust anything online. So make sure that the website you're using is legitimate and not either fake or trying to spoof another website. You can look, obviously, for the business history. You could call the Consumer Assistance Program and say, do you have any complaints on this website? I want to buy something, but I'm not really sure if they're legitimate or not. And remember, when you use a peer-to-peer purchasing place, if you are, there's safety measures that you should be putting in place. I think that you can probably, you all look like sensible people and you're going to use those that are listed. Okay, here we go. Unexpected, urgent, unsettling, unfamiliar, and your emotions are spiked. When all the things I described, you're going to slow down, take steps to verify, and then get community support. Those are the steps we always like. Take a breath, slow down, take steps to verify. You can call us, and then phone a friend. We're there. So that's your technique. What if a scam occurs? Oh, this is so hard because they occur all of the time. Number one is, please don't feel, yes, these are the actual steps. Before you get to step one, be brave. If you're embarrassed, just call us. We deal with this constantly. Like, this is what we do all day long, so we do not feel any embarrassment. We've seen literally it all. So please, step one. After that, immediately contact the financial institution's fraud department. So is it your credit card? Is it your bank? Contact them immediately, because we're gonna try really hard to stop the scam from being effective, right? Step two, call or go on ic3.gov, the FBI's Internet Crimes Complaint Center. You can call CAP, right? We're right here to walk you through this. If you feel that there has been a phishing attempt with your personal information, you can go to identitytheft.gov and they will create like a little plan for you. So you probably have a sense of loss, of like, I can't believe I fell for this. I think that not only is that actually helpful, I think it's emotionally helpful to feel like, okay, I'm gonna do the steps that I made on identitytheft.gov, and at least you're trying to take those steps to get yourself protected. And there are things you can do. So don't ignore it if you feel that information has been stolen from you about yourself that could jeopardize you for an identity theft. Always involve like a friend or someone, because it's just going to make it so much better. And I think it's sort of stabilizing. You guys can laugh about it someday, hopefully. It's really hard when you lose a lot of money, and we've seen people lose a ton, like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's heartbreaking. But you can always call us or go to our website. It's listed here at ago.vermont.gov/cap. These are in Vermont, we've separated some of the roles, and the Vermont Department of Financial Regulation actually has their own little consumer complaint, not complaint, but a consumer center to help as well for financial institutions. You could contact your local law enforcement, that's an option. And then the United Way is really helpful. Wow, I can't believe I got through all these. I'm so proud of myself. Because we wanted to leave time for any questions that people had. We're happy, Kristen, I'm gonna come out. This is great, because now I can see you. So does anyone have any questions? I'm happy to answer any questions, and if I don't know the answer, I know Chris will, so. Yes?
Madam Attorney General, thanks for coming to Rutland, Mr. Curtis. Mortgage fraud, we're hearing an uptick on people stealing homes. Some fancy word for town clerks. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Chris, do you want to answer that? Because I haven't heard, I've heard that one, but I didn't know there was an update.
Yeah, it's a great question. If you didn't hear it in the back, what's happening with real estate or mortgage frauds? There is a new trend where fraudsters are, these are public records, so they're getting access to people's documents and they're listing places for sale. They're calling realtors. And they're saying, we have all the details and the information. I want to sell my home. And so here it is, and they give it to the realtor, and then the realtor's like listing it, and they're actually taking calls on the home. And then, sometimes if the homeowner, if it's a second home and the homeowners don't live around the area anymore, we've gotten calls from family members saying, what's going on? Like my parents are not selling their home. They moved to Florida, but they're not selling their home, and that's ours, and what's going on? We see it listed. So we are working with the Vermont Association of Realtors to educate their workforce, because it really starts with, if you can't get it listed, or if the realtors are the ones, we want them to intervene aggressively to shut this down. And there is also a push for some reform at the town clerk level to raise their awareness and potentially put in some action steps that they can take to stop this too. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's vastly widespread, but it's definitely the kind of thing where you want to make sure that to the extent that you have parents or friends or neighbors, especially when people are contemplating a move and they still have retained the property, be on the lookout. And there was one in particular I remember where it was just the it was like the land, right? And so what happened was somebody went out and actually posted it. They put like a for sale sign on it, and it started drawing all this attention. And like the town clerk was talking about it, and then finally, and then the realtors were all calling around saying, "Who's selling that property? This is great. Like, okay, let's figure it out." And so they were actually kind of taken in by the swindle themselves, right? And so then they finally got a hold of these people, and they were like, "Oh yeah, why don't you list it, and we'll put this out there." So just it's unusual, it's a little bizarre. But what happens is, and this was something the realtors were telling me, is that they started asking questions, and they got their members to start asking questions. When can you meet in person? When can we meet to go over this? I'm going to have you sign some papers. So we got to meet in person. And then immediately that shuts down the conversation, right? They're off to the next. They don't want to get caught. And then the homeowners can step in and take some protective measures to protect their properties. But it is out there, so it's kind of a newer one, but definitely be on the lookout. It's a great question. Thank you.
Other questions? Yes.
Yeah, so I feel like the new thing now isn't the snail mail and the phones that we're used to, but texting. And there's probably nobody in this room that didn't get texted this summer that they owe an Easy Pass toll, right?
Yeah, we did scam alert on that.
And in my case, I probably did owe it. But it's usually on Gail's plate, so I don't worry about it. However, because I think Vermonters are targeted, in a mass way, and I got several of them, is there anything we can do to stop them?
I think that it actually used to be worse. Remember in the beginning of the internet in the 90s, and your whole email would just be full of crazy scams, and then nowadays it's like someone sent you something, you didn't find it, and you're like, oh, I'll just check my scam filter, and you go in there and you're like, holy smokes, there is a lot of junk in here. Ideally that would happen with our text messages as well. But it's a little tricky because they're trying so hard to get the texts and the calls through, and the laws are really they're based around the miracle of getting the call through. And it's hard now to say, whoa, maybe not all the calls, maybe not all the texts. But I think that they are working on diverting that. They've been really successful with calls, and I agree with you. The texts, that's the scams that I get now. The calls, they say spam, spam notice or potential spam. So we're all benefiting from work.
Spammers.
Yeah, work has been done on the federal level in Congress, but also I think the businesses themselves are realizing with the calls, like people aren't calling people anymore. They're not going to use our phones because people are worried about getting scammed. And I'm hopeful that text will be the same. We do a lot of education because we are not hopeful about that happening. Or if it does happen eventually, it's not soon enough. We see people getting scammed, every week at CAP. So there's a question over here. Oh yeah.
The problem I have with it is it happens after I traveled out of state on the whole road. So I didn't know that I was out of state.
Yeah.
And so that connection there is the problem.
Yeah, commenting that you get it after you've been out of state, so you automatically are thinking, yes.
I think going back to the first question, there's a advertisement on TV for title lock.
Yeah.
Most people are stealing your title. If you got a bank, they have a lien on your property. The bank's going to pick that up. Supposedly, there's the ability to go in if you own your property and go in and have a lien put on your property. Is that something we actually have to buy, or can we get the state of Vermont?
I'm not familiar with that. Have you, Chris? Yeah, Chris and I are scratching our something to look into. Yes.
So one of the things that happens with our mortgage, of course, is they get sold. And the mortgage gets sold to the new mortgage holder.
Yep.
And then there's also a mortgage service company. And last year, I think one of the major national banks changed their name to Mr. Cooper because they thought it was hip and young and edgy. And it's like, send your information out to Mr. Cooper. It's like, no, I don't think so. But it turns out they're a real thing. And so can we check in with you to say, so our mortgage has been sold, I've just got this thing. Is this a legit company? Or
Yeah. You can call CAP. That might be DFR, but CAP. The other thing that's so great about CAP is everybody at CAP is an expert in governments because we pick up the phone. People call us, so we need to know how to navigate. So when in doubt, you can call CAP and they'll get you to the right spot. I think there was another question. Yes.
So this isn't a question more than I just want to share an experience. I was in the legislature for about a week And I got a call from one of my constituents that had been scammed. Remember me? So I ran over to your office on Friday afternoon and met Kristen. We talked with my constituent on the phone, followed through, processed it in a couple weeks, and that changed my constituent's life. She was looking at a $60,000 scam, and he fixed it.
I love these testimonials. Chris saved his constituent $60,000. That's amazing. And the system that's the system working. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Can you find 60,000 for me?
Ed wants 60,000. Any last questions? Yes.
I've heard that if you say yes when you answer the phone, potentially that could be used as an affirmation of something before.
If you say yes, they'll record your yes, and then now yes that's not a very long word. Like if I said yes, there's probably a lot of people here. So I feel like as a lawyer, I'm like I think I can beat that. But as a general rule, don't pick up the phone. You don't have to worry. You know, you don't have to say yes or no. But this does bring me to another thing we didn't really talk much about, but is truly something that I think about a lot is AI. Because it's so convincing now. It has been, they make deep fakes, which are deep fakes is like when you take someone's face or voice and you make it look like they're doing something they're not really doing. And they have created, as an example, a scam involving Taylor Swift and like a Le Creuset giveaway or something. And it looks so real and sounds so real to people. That's the thing that really bothers me. Romance scams, like, can you imagine if you just created how easy it would be to create a bunch of like AI that are gonna be affecting the romance scams? Like just hit a button and there's 1,000 of them and you don't need to do anything. They run themselves basically. It's really, really scary and I feel like not enough people are talking about it. So I will leave you with that happy note. But it's really so nice to be here with all of you and thanks for all you're doing to support your community and PEGTV. It's my pleasure and I will turn that over to Tom.
That was fantastic. Thank you again to Attorney General Clark and Director Chris Curtis. Yeah, and Chris has some things he would like to hand out, more information. So are you guys going to stick around for a few minutes?
Yeah.
So please visit the table and meet them in person and make sure you get some of this stuff. Boy, there's a lot out there. Can I tell a Taylor Swift scam joke?
Yeah, can you? I'm not the scam, I'm not the joke police, I'm
If
the
you
scam
get
police.
okay, if you get involved with a Taylor Swift scam, just shake it off.
Got some groans on that one. Yeah, he was a comedian.
It's getting hot in here. I actually, what was that?
I said, that's somebody else.
I forgot. I overlooked a paragraph that I want to get back to. I want to thank Tom Donahue for his help in our live election night coverage. He stays on the air live all night. And Melissa Pierce is here. She's the manager of government affairs at Comcast. And right now, we are in the midst of a HD upgrade. So soon you will see PEGTV in high definition on the Comcast network. And I also want to thank Jim Sabatasso from the Rutland Herald. I don't think he's here, but he's a media partner, and he also helps out with election night coverage. And also Rich Clark from Vermont State University Castleton, who helps with some live forums also. So give those guys a round of applause. Next up, we have the awards presentation. It's something that, hang on a second. I forgot to put these on. lot of people dedicate a lot of time to PEGTV. So I'd like to recognize that with some Hall of Fame inductions this year. The first inductees, they have been producing a show at PEGTV since 2018. 66 shows. The title of the program is called the Relationship Toolbox, and it's very, very informative on how to work your way through relationships. Every episode has got new information, and everybody can use more tools in their relationship toolbox. So I'd like to induct into the Hall of Fame the co-host of that show, Marcia Castle and Tom Chamberlain. Jim's going to bring your awards to you, so you don't have to get up. There you guys are over there.
Over here, in the corner. Like the Olympics.
Very nice. Thank you. Next inductee, this fellow's been recording programs at PEGTV for almost as long as I can remember. Goes all the way back to, I think, our original location in Stafford Technical Center, and he currently has a program called Vermonters for Vermont. Greg Thayer, ladies and gentlemen. This next inductee, is Greg here, still here? Yeah. Oh, you're hiding back there. Thanks, Greg. Next inductee, this fella did a ton of sporting event coverage for us, particularly on the west side, a lot of West Rutland sports. He took the VIP course, which is where you come in and we train you how to use the equipment. And he went out and commentated and recorded games for them. And at the end of almost every game, he thanked PEGTV and he explained to the viewing audience how to get involved with PEGTV. So our next inductee is Rich Dow. Thank you to all 2025 inductees. Thank you very much and congratulations. The final award for tonight is called the Romeo Award. It's named after a puppy that we raised for the Guiding Eyes program back in the late 90s. Very special puppy dog. And if you ever want to never have a bad mood in the workplace, bring a puppy in. You'll never be in a bad mood. So we use this award to acknowledge folks that have gone beyond the call of duty to help us out. And this year I'm awarding the Comcast technicians. They have bailed me out more times than I can count. Those guys always are there. And they always seem to appear out of nowhere when we're doing a live shoot on a remote. And they just be casually walking by to make sure everything's okay. And it's been years. I mean, all of them. I got some of their names down. I hope I get them all. It's Russ, Greg, Jeff, Chris, Kyle, Simon, and Chad. We certainly wouldn't be on the air without those guys. So Comcast technicians are the Romeo Award recipient for 2025. And Melissa, I don't see anyone here, so would you be so kind as to bring that back to the office for me?
I sure will.
Thank you. Okay, before I say goodnight, I would like to ask someone to draw for the George Thorogood tickets. Do we have the ticket bucket? Where'd Charity and Crystal? Oh. I was going to have them draw so they know it wasn't a scam.
Who wants to
All right.
try?
We'll have, why don't we ask the mayor to draw?
And I didn't participate, so I won't be drawing my own name. All right, here, you hold the bucket. That way I'm not looking. There you go. Is it you?
It is Mike Daly. Okay, we got another one, Mike. Mike, we got another one. We got two pairs.
Two pairs.
It's an email address, tntalk@vermont@gmail.com. That's Lydia Belton. All right. George Sogood may actually ask you to come up on stage and sing with it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming out tonight. Please stick around and enjoy some dessert, and please visit with our special guest. One more round of applause for Attorney General Clark and Director Chris Curtis. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next year. Oh, my office manager said I need a motion to adjourn, so.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, thank you.